Hello, it's Lion here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we'll be doing another anime review. Today we'll be looking at Dragon Pilot, Hisone Masotan. This is an original anime project. It was done by Shinji Higuchi, who worked with Hideaki Anno of Evangelion fame, to create Shin Godzilla, which is awesome. I think that's really, really cool. And the writer here is Mario Okada, and the studio is Bones, which I think is the same group that does My Hero Academia. So it's kind of interesting, and their style for this is actually very different from what I would consider their like usual style, right? So it looks really, really nice. It was out in Japan April 13th, 2018. It started streaming September 21, 2018, and I did actually watch the first few episodes when that aired initially on Netflix a few years ago, a year before the pandemic or so. However, we stopped watching it. Like me and my roommates were watching it together, and then we stopped watching it, and then it never came back, right? We never kept watching it. But, I was free during spring break this week, and I decided to watch it, and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. It does have elements in it that are kind of odd, honestly. Like, I would consider it having, like, elements of vor and stuff like that. If you guys don't know, it's kind of like this, like, eating fetish, I guess. It's weird. It's honestly kind of odd, but, it works, I guess. Someone finds that attractive, so it is what it is. But, yeah, it also had a 5-chapter manga adaptation made a few years after its release, but it didn't really go anywhere, and apparently this was actually pretty popular in Japan. It's just something that didn't really cross popularity outside of Japan, and I can understand why. It's a pretty odd premise. However, once you get over that, and you kind of just enjoy everything else about the story, I think it kind of provides some good entertainment. And even though it's not like the greatest thing ever, it's pretty fun, right? So, yeah, genre-wise, I would call this a fantasy type thing. It has elements of military sci-fi, kind of like Top Gun, I guess, like Top Gun Maverick, or other kind of things like that. And of course, I would also kind of say that it has a little bit of magical realism in it, especially at the last third of the series, right? It's only 12 episodes, so the last 4 or so episodes have a lot of magical realism feeling type things to it. However, that's just me looking into it. It might just be Japanese, like, folklore shit, and that's not really magical realism, that's just folklore, so it's kind of different, right? It's kind of hard because, like, this is very classically, like, Japanese feeling to me. Like, it has a lot of just, like, we're going to throw everything that we can into here, and everyone's going to have a different interpretation, but there's going to be clearly, like, 1,000 different themes and things here, and you're just going to have to wad through that and figure out what you like, what you want to attach to, right? So, yeah, that's how I feel about a lot of Japanese things. Not action shonen, just everything else. But I do enjoy that, even though it is kind of like like pelting you with like thematics, right? So, yeah. Basically, we follow this character, Hisone Amakatsu, right? And she is someone that has always been very blunt. She's not someone that knows how to interact and kind of follow social norms in a way that's healthy or useful to her. And so she had to eventually pick what to do with her life. So she decided to join the Japanese Air Defense Force. So she basically wanted to be like a fighter pilot or work for the fighter pilots. And she eventually became a desk worker for the Japanese Air Defense Force. Someday, randomly, she was asked to go to a specific hangar on their airbase called Gifu Air Base, which is a real place. And she ended up in this hangar where they housed a dragon, or actually something called an organic transformable flyer, or organic transformed flyer, which basically is a dragon that gets metal pieces put onto it, and then the dragon can like use magic to shape itself into this object. And so it's like a transformer, but it's also a dragon. And it's really, really cool. I really enjoyed that. And she gets eaten by it. So when she gets eaten, that means that she gets chosen by this dragon. And so she is now a dragon rider, or a dragon pilot, or a Deepai, as they call them in the anime, right? I watched it in English, with English dub. So Sometimes stuff wasn't really clear or like weird, like they would not use the terminology correctly across every episode. But basically a a dragon pilot, a whatever you want to call it, an OTF pilot, it's whatever. Basically that she basically bonded with this dragon, and she had to become its pilot, right? Which reminded me a lot of stuff that happens in Naomi Novik's Temeraire series. If you guys have not read that, it's really, really good. I'll put a picture up of the first book here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So she bonds with this dragon, and she initially doesn't want to because she's someone that's really scared by what happens, right? She calls her mom, she asks her, hey, what should I do? And her mom's just like, do whatever you want, but if you're there, you might as well try and just do your best and it'll be good. So she decides to do that. And she eventually manages to develop a relationship with this dragon. She finds out that this dragon's name is Masotan, which is actually its legendary name because these dragons have existed for a long time, and the Japanese government has kept them in some way for a long, long time. And so this is its legendary name that was given to it by a god, I guess. And she was the person that found it, right? So she could talk to this dragon a little bit better than most other pilots ever could. And after that, it basically becomes like a cute girls doing cute things series for a few episodes. And then it swerves into this kind of magical realism, like, okay, you guys have a mission now. Kind of like, it kind of came out of nowhere. Like in the first Top Gun movie, they're doing one thing, and then suddenly it's like, oh, we got to go fight something. And so they do this, and it turns out that it's not a fight or anything like that. It's actually an escort mission for this larger dragon that looks like a whale that needs to move around from place to place every 3 decades. 3 groups of 25. I don't know what that's called. Every 75 years, right? And so eventually does wake up, and they have to take it. And this kind of unleashes this whole other issue where the magical realism really gets hardcore. And it's just really good. I don't know, like, how to really talk about it. And I don't really want to spoil it because I think that it's better to enjoy it as it is. But it's really, really enjoyable. I just liked it a lot. And it has a lot of crazy shit going on. Like, at one point, you think the story is about, a character finding the thing that only they can do. And then it turns into this kind of, like, relationship thing about how humans aren't complete until they're loved. And then it's about the void that a lot of Japanese people feel about their lives. And it's just like all sorts of things just like hitting all over the place. And it's really fun, but it's also just a lot, right? But it's also kind of weird, and it's just good. I don't know. So that's all I have to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Thank you guys so much for watching.